Well, hello. This is Geeks Assembled Audio Heads, and I'm Susan, and that's Lee, and we are geeks, and we are assembled here today to talk about Peter Davison and his TARDIS team's two audio sets. We'll start with the one called 40, and it's interesting. It's got two different stories. Uh, it's got Adric in it. I mean, for crying out loud, they went back. They got Adric, and it's got Tegan and Nissa, and it's got Cybermen, and it's got uh, Ice Warriors. So yeah, it is, at least it isn't Daleks, but like for Lee's
Yeah,
happiness right now, and because like we just were like looking through some of the stuff that he just got, and I mean he's got a lot of cool audios, but this week he got another audio or two sent, one from Torchwood, but one from Doctor Who, and it's all about Daleks again, and he's just, yeah, there you go, face palm. That's it. That's what he did. Anyway, so this week we're discussing 40 and 42, but right now this podcast we're going to cut them in half and do it 40, and and it's the 40th anniversary of the arrival of the feckless uh, beige doctor, the our Tristan Farnon of time and space, our the last detective, and Detective Danger. It's just fun. You gotta go with this thought. Oh, he's also a Braithwaite. Yep. So anyway, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about this. And what are your opening thoughts, Lee, on 40?
well, a box set like this,
Yeah.
which
Show us that box set.
a box set like this, to celebrate 40 years of the Fifth Doctor, first arrival of the Fifth Doctor in 1982, makes me feel very old.
No. Don't don't do that. Don't do that.
But if it makes me feel very old, I wonder what Peter Davison ended up
No,
doing.
no. I just like I said. Lee. Just
His gang feel. I bet they think, oh no, 40 years.
okay, but the important thing to remember is that he's able to like maintain his youthful voice on some level. On sometimes it's just it can work. So anyway, this one's
Yeah.
he
I
comes
mean,
he comes in the middle of one of his adventures.
yeah, I mean, I've never hidden the fact that he's not my favorite Doctor.
No, I know that. Oh my gosh.
But let me get to where I'm going to.
Hey.
Um, because the 3 seasons he did on TV, just wait for me because coming out of the Tom Baker era and being hit by Davison and the clinically clean stories from Chris H. Bidmead and stuff like that, it wasn't for me. Um, but his final season sort of got there for me. It took him 3 seasons, and his final season was sort of better than the two before. And I hoped he was going to be doing a fourth. Never happened, of course. But thankfully, Big Finish, ah, sort of have improved my not love, but my what do you call it when you admiration for this era. They've improved it because they're damn good stories.
Yeah.
And as I say, this is celebrating 40 years of when he first appeared. And two stories in this, you say you've got Secrets of Telos.
Uh-huh.
I mean, straight away, it's going to be a Cyberman story,
Yeah.
and it's a sequel to Tomb of the Cybermen.
There are a couple of those, but go on.
Yeah, there's a couple of characters from Tomb of the Cybermen, which are in this story, played by two different actors, of course.
Yes.
But I'm not going to complain about that. And then you've got a two-part story, God of War, where you have Ice Warriors and Vikings. What a combination!
It worked out.
It does. Yeah, and this is where the Doctor is slipping through his own time stream as the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah.
He keeps fading in and fading out. He doesn't know Adric's dead, and then the next adventure, Adric's still alive. But something's happened to the Doctor for him to be pushed along his time stream, yo-yoing up and down. He doesn't know what's going on. But that is all found out in the second box set, which we will talk about later on. Yeah, two great stories. Say that the Secrets of Telos is a four-parter, and you've got the classic 60s Cybermen with the 60s voice done by Mr. Briggs, of course.
Yep.
Yeah,
Done.
great. Yeah, a great great story with what's his name? What's playing Professor Parry, who was in the original. I'm trying to remember his name now. The actual played Professor Parry in this was Christopher Timothy, of course. I had to look him up.
And Christopher Timothy was with him in All Creatures Great and Small.
Yeah, well, this is what they did. If you listen to the little extras on the end of this, they decided to do these stories, but to celebrate 40 years of the Fifth Doctor, they've sort of got actors who have worked with Peter Davison in other shows.
Oh, I must have missed that one, but go on. That's cool.
They've got Christopher Timothy to play Professor Parry, and then you had Barbara Flynn playing Professor Vansom. She worked with Peter Davison on a very, very peculiar practice.
Oh, okay.
They was getting old friends to work with him again. And Belinda Lang in the next story of the Ice Warrior story as well. So there was all people that have worked with him before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was
that was a miss. Yeah, okay. Go on.
So yeah, I mean, Secrets of Telos is literally, was it 6 hours after the second Doctor had left, where Parry and Captain Hopper are back on his ship, leaving Telos.
Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose because there's a cybermat converting all the sleeping people in the cryo, what do you call them, chambers. And then, of course, crash land on another planet where this Professor Ransom, quite insane, is planning to create weaponry soldiers from cyber technology, but it's, as I say, the Doctor gets involved with Tegan and Nyssa in this one.
Yeah.
It's quite a good four-parter. It keeps you. It doesn't dip, and it keeps you wanting to listen further every time that you come to the cliffhanger of part whatever. So enjoyed this one. I do like I do prefer the old Cybermen voices compared to what they have today.
I agree, actually.
I even like the 80s version. The voices excellent. I think we need more 80s versions.
No, I'm sorry. I really prefer the 60s version of Cyber Voice.
Yeah, I love the 60s version, but
because they're so unique. they literally sound like none of the other monsters in the whole of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these other ones. I mean, all these other robots and everything else, all the other creatures that the Doctor encounters, all sound different than them. But when you get to the 80s, and that sounds a bit like, I mean, it sounds a bit like the Silence and some of the other ones, and that's something that they use because they use the same voice. I mean, a lot of these things are Nicholas Briggs, and with absolutely nothing wrong with that. And he's a great actor, and he does so well in bringing life to all of the villains of Doctor Who. But
Mm.
it needed the 60s voice was so unique, and I just thought, keep it, but then they kept changing it, and now it's just like, now it's kind of like halfway between, and it's kind of like delayed, and it's like this. It's just a little modulated, but it's not super modulated like the voice of the 60s Cybermen for Telos. Fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on. I interrupted you again. I'm sorry.
No, what I'm saying is I do love the 60s, but I also like the 80s version as well. And I just think that the 80s version of the Cyberman hasn't been really given any justice in the audios, really. We've had several, but not that many 80s version stories of the Cybermen, which I think they should up the game and do a few more.
Okay. All right.
But I do love the 60s Cybermen as well, so
I
I'm
just
easily. Oh,
should be heard all the time. Wow.
yeah, so that was that. Then you see you go on to God of War, a two-parter with one Ice Warrior to begin with, of course, who the Vikings believe is a god.
Yep.
Um, but there's method in the Ice Warriors madness, of course, because there is a fleet, an army of Ice Warriors frozen. Yeah, it's a simple story. This. I don't think they could have fleshed this out into a four-parter. So it works well as a two-parter. This one, but it's always good to hear the hissing, rasping of the Ice Warriors.
Yep.
One, classic Who monsters, which
Yeah.
wasn't overused really.
No.
And so we've had several audio stories with Ice Warriors. But it's always nice to have them turn up every now and again,
Agreed.
be it allies or be it villains, because you never know with the Ice Warriors.
You never know, because like during all the Peladon stuff, they're always our allies, and
Yeah,
they're actually like defending the honor of the galaxy and the Federation, which that's a different Federation than the Blake Seven and like but than the Star Trek universe. But that it's a really good. They're they are really on the side of the angels in when you're talking about Peladon, but
but it's always nice to have nasty Ice Warriors.
yeah, and I just love how the Ice Warriors got together and made a company of stationary bicycles. Have you heard of them? They're Peloton bikes, and they're for training Ice Warriors, and they're also for lowering the temperature of your house. It's just a fascinating thing that they've done. That's my
Um, that's Susan's head cannon again. Yeah, so thoroughly enjoyable two stories. So what did you think of them?
it took me a while to figure out what the hell is happening. Why was he with different companions at different times, and then I was like, oh,
Because he was yo-yoing on his time stream.
yeah, and it was actually like quantum leap. He's actually leaping into his old body
Mm-hmm.
with all the mental acuity of the later doctor, the later fifth doctor. He bounces back in time and then forward in time at the next one that we're going to talk about. But he's really, and yeah, during the whole because it was the fifth doctor and not Troughton's doctor with the Ice Warriors. I'm sorry, with the Cybermen and the Cybermets. Whenever he said Perry, I was like Nicola Bryant, Nicola Bryant. But it's just like that's just because of the voice saying Perry. I know it's just ridiculous.
Professor Parry.
I really liked how they made those characters are so grumpy and evil. Oh my gosh. All those like scientists that just want to manipulate the fuck out of the cyber people. It's a knockout plan. It's really gonna work this time. You're gonna actually succeed at using these things that actually yeah, whatever. No. It's like a Liz Truss thing.
Oh,
It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out this time. She's gonna come in there and work it. And sure enough, the poor cyber people. But the voice is so electric. It's like, yeah, that's the way they're supposed to sound. You will be like us. I will convert you. You are you are like us. Oh my gosh, it's just best. It's best. It's the best.
and I just want to butt in, but it's also great that with the audios, they can be anywhere. I mean, TV's a bit limited. They can have special effects, they can have green screen, but audios you can go anywhere.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean,
So they went back to Telos, and Telos is just like Earth, only it's cyber. It's a cyber planet.
and God of War, they're in Iceland.
They're in Iceland with like volcanoes and stuff.
Volcanoes, which has a fairly significant part of the story.
Yes. No doubt about that. The volcano thing was pretty big,
Yeah.
pretty ginormous. And then the other thing that was really big about that was the brokenheartedness and the violence that it caused when the doctor explained to Colonel Saigas, or what was his name? Oh my god. What the hell is that? Zaslier or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, the Grand Marshals.
Grand Marshal. Yeah. He was struck. I mean, he was crushed. He was emotionally rendered in inconsolable when he found out that Mars was pretty much dead.
So what do the Ice Warriors do? Just right. We'll take your world instead.
Yeah, just elbow you guys out. That's all right with us. But that one moment when he found out that Mars was dead, it was just like, oh, geez. So yeah, I just kind of like I kind of think that Colonel Zasslier, or no, I'm sorry, Grand Marshal Zasslier. I'll get it right one of these days. Anyway, I'm glad he's not in this room, and I don't have to introduce him to a panel of his own best mates. Yeah. So anyway, he was a good Ice Warrior, and There's definitely the primary kind. The oh, we're gonna fuck you up. We're villainous, and that was great. And so back back before the bicycle and the planet of Peloton and so Peloton. I mean, yeah, this was way before that they turned that corner, and so it was a good story. And what were your favorite moments? I've been telling you all my favorite moments. Sorry.
Well, I just love the idea because it's a different way of telling a story, having the Doctor being, as you say, quantum leap into his future body,
Yeah.
and trying to understand where's Adric,
Yeah.
what's happened. Well, you and all like this, and this are saying this, that, and the other. We can't say this. We can't. We can't. If this is the Doctor where we've just left a Monarch ship on Fort of Doomsday, he doesn't know anything of what's gone on up to now. We
Right.
cannot let him know of his future actions and stuff like that. But the Doctor wants to know, so he's breaking his own rules.
Mm.
And of course, you have Tegan, which I love Tegan. I love the grumpiness, down to earth air hostess. I think one of the best companions I would say was Tegan. Alongside Sarah Jane, of course. But the people always, when you look back at it, people always used to complain about Tegan. Oh, she's always moaning. She was a great character.
She had a lot of different like attitudes and
Yeah.
than just like a straight up like sweet British darling. And she got away with a lot of it, at the time because of they just call they utilized all of her Australianness.
Mm. But it, so, the other parts as well, write a sort of sequel to Tomb of the Cybermen, having two characters from that story in Secrets of Telos, and the Doctor trying to not trying to hide at first that he was the same man that they'd seen 6 hours ago. How do you know that? Oh yeah. Well, I worked with the Doctor.
I was his assistant.
I'm the Doctor. No, you're not. Things like that. It's just clever writing.
That was really funny.
It was Matt Fitton who wrote that one.
Yeah.
So good old Matt Fitton. And Sarah, was it Gracella? Gracella wrote God of War.
Mhm.
No, but yeah, I really enjoyed both of them. It was a pleasure to celebrate 40 years by
Yeah.
listening to them.
Yeah, it really was. What did you think of the Vikings?
Well, we only sort of had Revna and Inga.
Hmm.
Belinda Lang, brilliant actress. People, maybe you over there have seen the 2.4 Children comedy series
Yeah.
over there. Oh, no, British comedy, I thought always travels over there.
Yeah, a lot of it does, but not everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to be in a different place, Iceland, back the Viking settlement, volcano, ice warriors in the ice. What isn't there to love?
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, great little stories. To say it's only a two-parter, but they rammed a lot into two parts.
Hmm.
Uh, but I couldn't see this working as a four-parter.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, nice story.
Yeah. And let's see, what was your thought about oh, never mind. I can't remember what I was going to ask you.
Well, they did have in the God of War one. He from Telos. He jumped back his timeline because Adric was still alive in God of War. So the doctor was shocked to see Adric when he found out he was dead in the story before.
And Florida Dooms, and the one after Florida Doomsday.
I air shock, wasn't he? But the God of War, Adric was in this one.
Yeah,
Uh, and there was nice little scenes with just the Doctor and Adric.
yeah, no, really good.
With this Doctor knowing that Adric will die.
Yeah.
So them conversations was a bit more in depth and a bit more heartfelt.
Yeah.
Without the Doctor giving anything away to Adric. So yeah, quite little conversations they had together.
Yeah, that was really sweet. And I love how Tegan was protecting Adric from hearing that. She was reminding the doctor when she told him that you know he was just gonna have to not tell him.
Well, you've got to look after the time stream, haven't you? You can't one was it? You can't change anything.
Not one line, not one thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I that's a William Hartnell line. I'm sorry. I'm all over that. Yeah. So, but it was really good. It was really good to have the full daddy, you know, Tegan, Nissa, and Adric, the full and Space Dad, um, together again, and it was amazing how encouraging he was to Tegan and to Nissa and to Adric. He actually really your the conversation that you just referenced, yeah, was one of like 3 or 4 that were just you just get you just get you just get so good. You get to be such a cool person, just without saying that, but just letting them know that they are amazing people. And that was fun to hear from the Fifth Doctor, because usually that wasn't actually what he said. Um, that's more Fourth Doctor and Sixth Doctor, long further on down the line anyway.
Yeah.
And the Seventh Doctor never said, geez, you guys Ace, you're amazing. Mel, you're amazing. I mean, it took Christopher Eccleston to bring that whole thing back.
Yeah.
So it was different, and to hear it in this audio, that was great. And so, have you anything else to add about 42?
Of 40.
I mean 4G. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I've got to give a thumbs up to the soundscape in both the stories. You do get the sense in the Cyberman story of the feel and the music, what you got back then in Tomb of the Cybermen.
Mm-hmm.
You got the feel of that. The sort of recreated all that sort of feel, and then you got the soundscapes and the music in God of War, of the cold, of the even the volcano. It just gelled so well together.
Yeah.
So great music, great soundscapes. But Big Finish always do that.
Yeah, and what did you think about the color? The heck? That's twice. That's twice. I forgot what I was going to say. I might have to just let this go. So
Are you slipping down your own time stream?
I am like having. I barely slept at all last night, and it was the night that our clocks changed, and I was supposed to get more sleep, but instead I got like 4 hours less sleep. I just can't even believe it. So anyway, I don't know what the hell's the matter with me. Um, but the let's see, let me see if I can recreate it. No, I really can't. Oh my god! And oh, son of a gun.
Oh,
Anyway,
it'll come
maybe
to you when we stop recording.
it will come to me when I stop recording, and it isn't like I wanted to start an argument either, which would have been really fun. But I cannot remember for the life of me. And that's just something to do with I can blame it on sleeplessness, and I can blame it on my disability. So anyway, that's just where it is. The uh, the question then remains: would you like to rate this together as one unit or as separate stories?
Um, no, I'll, I'll just do it as one set. I think because I enjoyed both stories. So for me, um, 40 gets a 10.
Yeah,
Um, a great writing, great acting, great music, soundscapes. It just does the Fifth Doctor justice.
yeah.
As I said before, some of the TV stories didn't really do him justice. But we can say that about the Sixth Doctor. We can say
I
that about
can say that.
yeah, we could say that about the Eighth Doctor, which you only got the TV movie, but Big Finish is a Doctor Who savior.
Yep.
So thankfully, Peter Davison as the Fifth Doctor has been given some damn good scripts.
Yeah, and just one more thing is he was in the last episode of the latest episode of the new series of Doctor Who, and he and Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann all were given a scene together. So that was rather sweetness, but that wasn't what I was going to say, and I still can't remember, but it'll come to me again. It will. You're right about that, Lee. Um, the the 40th anniversary of the Fifth Doctor, it was good, and the fact that some of us here in the U.S. Uh, I'm talking about people on the East Coast and some people on the West Coast were able to see the Peter Davison stories as they were going out, and that was the start of. There were Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and then Sylvester McCoy stories all went out live, or at the same time or similar time anyway, and but where I was, we were sort of looping the Fourth Doctor over and over again, because that's what Salt Lake uh, National, or not National Public Radio, Public Broadcasting Service from Salt Lake used to play. And so that's what we got in Montana. And so that's what we watched. Um, so I really envy people who got to see the Fifth Doctor live, because I so enjoyed him in all of these other roles that he was in. I mean, I loved him in Black Beauty. I loved him in Braithwaite, and I loved him. And I saw Braithwaite, like they ran one season of that in public television, and they also did yeah that and then there was All Creatures Great and Small, which he was in sporadically throughout the whole of it, and so that was awfully fun. And then recently he and Christopher Timothy just got into a one of these old roadsters and went traveling around together again, and that was sort of cute. I mean, that was a cute documentary series, and I really loved that. And I think that he, I mean, I didn't see the Last Detective when that was. I mean, I just was able to watch that about 2 years ago. No, maybe 7 years ago. Anyway, that was really good. And Dangerous Davies, that's what his name was. And so that was fun. But I appreciate the Fifth Doctor, and I appreciate the fact that he was the he got a lot of shade from like the shadow cast by Tom Baker was long, and a lot of people didn't know how to adjust to it, and so I mean they didn't a lot of people weren't able to remember back when John Pertwee uh, regenerated, and that's a pity. But I never saw any of these things live. I just had to redig this hole back in 2013 for the 50th. Anyway, I will give this story 10 out of 10 because it you know 10 out of 10 cricket bats, or 10 out of 10 celery sticks, or 10, what are the other things that are 10 out of 10 cricket kits. I don't know, 10 out of 10 um, block matrix mathematics. Anyway, something like that. I guess with all those tens, it almost makes 40.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was good. It was really good. And no, I said tens 3 times and you said it once, so there was 40. So thank you for watching our 40 podcast. We I wasn't able to change Lee's mind about the Fifth Doctor, but he loves him anyway because he's got to.
it's in the contract.
It's in the contract. And yeah, just a shout out to these fine people, because I'm going to be meeting various of them very soon, actually, in the end of November. So yay for this. Anyway, with all that said, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, um, and you will be notified when we put out new stuff. Ask Lee to join. Just have a camera and a microphone, 18 years old, and some device to put it on, and then come zooming with us. And then the other thing is join our social media, and we're everywhere.
Yeah,
And
we don't know how long we're going to be on Twitter though.
you thinking about bailing?
Well, if Mr. Musk keeps
Keep
asking
this,
for
yeah. If he
money,
decides to charge, we're
yeah,
we're not gonna do that. I already have a tribal account, but I think that there's another one that's going to be better. We'll let you know. Hey, how's that? We'll let you know in the next podcast. All right, all right, all right. I'm glad you all are in agreement, and thank you for watching, and share this widely. Have a great one.